Hello, and welcome to Anime Audio Commentary. Today I'll be commenting on episode 12 of My Senpai is Annoying. If you'd like to watch along, then start watching now. You know, between the beginning of the last episode and right now, it seems like Igarashi's kind of moving up in the world. You know, she's receiving direct compliments on her work from the boss, who seems to be the overall boss of the office. You know, that said, Takeda still sort of sees her and treats her kind of as a child. And you know, it only makes sense that she is sort of annoyed by that. This is probably like the one behavior that you could really call Takeda annoying about. I mean, I guess Igarashi's not coming from an unreasonable place. You know, she wants to be relied on. And, you know, Takeda does rely on her, but not in a way that she wants, unfortunately. So it seems like, however good and praiseworthy Igarashi has been lately, Takeda's doing even better. You know, landing a major client and signing a contract with them is, you know, that's no mean feat. I'd imagine it's not every day your company lands a big new client. You know, I'm not exactly sure what Igarashi does at her company, and you know, frankly, it's not exactly relevant to the plot, but I'd imagine getting a big new client is not a particularly common thing in her line of work. So this is interesting. You know, Igarashi's all nice and happy about Takeda succeeding. And I guess when you get down to it, you know, it's sort of a nice thing to be around people who are happy for you, even if, you know, it has no bearing on them. If that makes any sense. You know, you don't want to surround yourself with people who can't celebrate your success even though they have no part in it. And, you know, Igarashi's trying to cover, it's like, you know, no, I don't have a massive crush on him or anything, ha 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 ha. I mean, she obviously does, but even if that weren't the case, that she can be happy for somebody else, I think is indicative that she's the sort of person Takeda should want to be around. Now, interestingly, I'm thinking the point of conflict here is that he's sort of, not really ignoring her, but he's not sort of asking her for help on a bunch of stuff, even when she's offering. And, you know, I can understand why that would rankle a little bit, you know? Because, like, she's a junior employee, she's trying to learn here. Sometimes you need to learn by being given tasks, and if Takeda's not doing that, then she won't improve as much as she could. But on the other hand, you know, Takeda, like, he goes out of his way to look out for her. So I feel like there's gotta be some wisdom in what he's doing. He can't be doing it for no reason. You know, he did also mention that he relies on her in regards to cooking, which, as I understand, has only occurred once, but I feel like that's sort of a telling hint there. That, you know, perhaps Takeda has some romantic feelings he's not really expressing. I mean, there was that incident with the fortunes and all that, but, that's all we've gotten so far. Alright, so this is a big responsibility. Igarashi's being given an opportunity to go all by herself and present to a client. You know, the boss gave it the thumbs up, and, you know, Takeda sees fit to trust her too, so this is something. You know, I think she's definitely capable and she can definitely do it on her own, but I'm wondering if this success will change the dynamic in the office. Because, you know, she's always sort of been like the rookie employee. And whether or not she's actually relied on Takeda, that's always how it seemed. But, you know, even getting beyond that, just the fact that she's doing the presentations on her own, you know, that sort of cuts down on the time that Igarashi and Takeda would spend with each other just in the course of working. And, you know, seeing as how the relationship has improved vastly just by spending time with each other, you know, I'm wondering if this will sort of hamper all of that. And, you know, it's already pretty easy to see the difference here. You know, she's watching those two other guys who are co-workers laughing and having a good time. But, you know, she's just eating lunch by herself. See, I would feel like, if nothing else, she would want to have lunch with him just for the companionship and the fun. Alright, so this is a big issue. You know, there are a bunch of other women clamoring for his attention. And just looking at it on paper, Igarashi's going to write herself off because just purely based on physical attributes, you know, she doesn't stack up compared to her other coworkers. And, you know, even if that's not the first place she immediately jumps to, she can definitely tell that something is, amiss, you know. She certainly feels like things are awry, even if she can't quite nail down what exactly the reason is. And unfortunately, you know, this whole thing is coming across as sullenness. So this is, a nice change of pace and kind of interesting that Takeda, you know, going out for drinks is one thing, but throwing a whole party and celebrating his success on getting this contract, you know, that's a bridge too far. And interestingly, Igarashi is sort of, maybe not forcing his hand, but trying to talk him into it just because, you know, I guess it looks bad on you if you're not willing to celebrate your own success publicly. You know, that's probably like a Japanese thing, but okay, I don't get why she's doing that. You know, she's sitting out of the party even after talking him into it. You know, I hate to say it, but I think this is an issue that could be solved by being forthright, or at the very least by Igarashi attending the party. I mean, maybe it was one of those things where you do have to be invited and she wasn't, but man. Alright, so I get the feeling that the way things are going to go, for the time being at least, everybody's going to get a little bit of romance except Igarashi. You know, Yuto is here, and I mean, maybe it's not like actual romance, but I'm pretty darn sure he's at least got a crush. And because he's busy talking to Natsumi, she's not answering the phone. Man, you know, this is taking a bit of a melancholy twist. You know, none of the people Igarashi would normally hang out with are available. And I feel like she's sort of entering a self-destructive spiral here, you know? Like, she's deciding to go out and just drink, because that's what businessmen do in Japan. But if she's by herself... Oh... That's painful. You know, the guy's asking her, like, you know, how many of you are there going to be? And, like, she sort of has to admit, you know, oh, it's just me. Like, you don't have to rub it in like that. And I feel like things are only going to get worse, because, you know, she can easily be mistaken for a child. I feel like something's going to happen, and Takeda may or may not be there. I guess it's a good episode for flashbacks and sort of looking back on how far she's come and how different things are now than they were then. I mean, it seems like not much has necessarily changed. You know, Sakurai is just kind of fawning over her due to her stature. And, you know, it's only natural she's none too happy about it, but if nothing else, I think, you know, everybody else sort of dropped the topic except Takeda sometimes. You know, it's kind of unfortunate that Igarashi really seemed very uptight. I mean, I can't blame her to a degree. I probably wouldn't be too happy if I was a manlet, but I don't know, just having a chip on your shoulder all the time, that's not good. Oh dear, I think I know where this is going. You know, Takeda may or may not realize that she's actually a coworker. You know, he's just sort of treating her as a kid who incidentally happens to be in the building. I mean, if nothing else, it's nice that Igarashi had a nice sort of first impression until he asked her whether or not she was here on a field trip. Yeah, you know, it's unfortunate that his assumption has made an idiot out of him. Ooh dear. Yeah, you know, see you later, little kid. I have to go mentor the new hire. Well, boy, he's gonna feel pretty foolish when it turns out, Igarashi's the new hire. Oh dear. Yeah, I feel like this is perhaps the worst possible introduction that could have happened. I guess it's interesting in that, their relationship is sort of improved in the way it did, but I guess there was literally no direction but up, They could only improve their relationship, seeing as how this is how they started. I mean, he even says it's like, wait, you're actually an adult? Oh dear. I mean, I guess the boss is, somewhat understanding that they got off on the wrong foot, but, he's still putting his foot down. It's like, hey, you guys have to work together. I am the boss. Well, you know what? Even if they did get off on the wrong foot, Igarashi is at least willing to sort of forgive and forget, kind of. Yeah, I mean, Igarashi's sort of informing us that this is the crux of her annoyance with him. But I feel like, that might be kind of a stretch. I guess only the annoying part is that it continues. Ah, dear, here we go. Somebody's going to try something, and Igarashi's definitely not in the mood for it. Alright, so here's the setup. Surely something's going to happen. Here we go. Just in the nick of time, the hero arrived to save the day. Now, I guess, Igarashi may or may not embarrass herself again by saying, what if I was your wife, or something to that effect. Maybe that won't happen, but this is certainly the same place. And, to a degree, the same sort of setup. They've arrived from work, and they're just drinking. Igarashi's already had a few, so I'd imagine, she's going to be a little more loose-lipped than normal. Alright, now that's a solid admission that Takeda would rather just, go drinking with Igarashi than spend time at that party. That's, he's saying more than he realizes, I think. There's a sincerity in that. That, even if what they're doing isn't necessarily super fun, the fact that he would rather do that, I think that's kind of indicative of how he really feels. And, I'm wondering if Igarashi's picking up on that. Oh dear. So, it turns out that being in the same bar drinking again, there are consequences, because she remembers what she said the last time she got this kinda sloshed. I mean, it seems like they're both kind of in a sentimental mood. And you know what? Maybe Takeda's being sentimental insofar as they have a working relationship, but I get the feeling that that's not what Igarashi has in mind necessarily. I mean, you sort of already guessed that all these words are coming from a very liquored up place, but Man, she didn't actually say anything she could potentially regret. Which I suppose is good, but she also didn't confess either. Alright, I'm not sure I like this melancholy tone it's taking on. Igarashi saying, I did all this stuff on my own. Don't expect me to be by your side all the time. And I'm wondering if Takeda's gonna save it. I mean, I guess he's saying, I'll be by your side as long as I can be, but, I don't know, neither of them are sort of crossing the threshold. Alright, so it seems like they're both sort of fully sober now, and even despite that sort of charged conversation they had, Igarashi's kind of embarrassed to be sharing that umbrella, but I suppose it's better than the alternative, even if there are maybe not connotations to sharing an umbrella, but implications. Oh boy, yeah, there really is no escape if he's sort of just hugging her under the umbrella. Just, so she doesn't get wet. You know what, that's probably about as good as we're going to get. He is kind of annoying, but he's ultimately well-meaning. Well, that's it for this episode. If you've enjoyed it, then by all means, tune in for the next one. See you, Space Cowboy.